Well, hi, everybody. I just wanted to introduce you to Karl Hussey, who is joining us on this Zoom call. Karl took the CIMT several years ago and is getting ready to do his first follow-up and is expecting some good things. So hopefully we'll find that. And he and I will get together when we have the CIMT shortly. So welcome, Karl. And tell us a little bit about your history. Why were you interested in your heart health?
Well, first of all, I'd realized the last few years, about 4 years ago, I started putting on weight. And my doctor alerted me to this fact. She didn't really tell me I was on the verge of becoming obese, but she should have been a little bit more emphatic about it. So when I heard you were going to be speaking, I thought I'd listen to what you had to say, because I tried to diet myself and I just yo-yoed up and down over a period of a couple of years. And it seemed to be really, I was kind of on a treadmill. And that being the case, the only thing that really kind of worked for me was me working out 12 to 15 hours a week. And that didn't seem like a very practical long-term solution.
No.
So I did drop 20 or so pounds. I was able to eat pretty much what I wanted to eat. But on the other hand, I was away from home probably 20 hours a week. It was almost like I was working a part-time job.
Exactly right. So the information I shared with you regarding insulin resistance and blood sugar and all of that, helped put you along the line of something that might be was a little bit more effective than in losing weight, right?
It all came together for me after listening to you talk. Yeah. And the one thing you brought up to me that was an idea I hadn't heard of was the fact that it would be best to eat in a bracketed form. And I'm thinking, well, who could do that? And then you brought up the fact that we all do this every day. We don't eat constantly. So there's not a brief period, but a long period of time, usually 10 to 12 hours, when most of us don't eat. Your suggestion was that we narrow that bracket down, and I ended up doing that. And eating twice a day is what I do now. I seldom feel hungry. And over the period of the first 6 months I started doing this, I lost about 60 pounds.
Very good. So some people call this intermittent fasting. We don't like the word fasting. We like bracketed eating. I think that's a little bit more positive. And so what form are you on? You eat within about a 6-hour window, or what do you do?
Usually 6 hours, noon to 6, somewhere thereabouts. Good. You know, I can expand that somewhat. Certainly, I don't eat just within that time framework. If my friends go out to breakfast, I eat breakfast. If I go out to dinner, we're eating at 7:30. That's the time I eat. Sure. But for the most part, I'd say 25 out of 30 days or so, I'm kind of eating within that time framework. And like I said, it only took me 6 months. I was losing pretty much steadily 10 pounds a month, which at first I thought might have been alarming, but turned out to be that's kind of what I should do.
And you don't have to go to the gym 20 hours a week anymore?
I don't go to the gym 20 hours a week.
Good.
But I am up at the gym pretty regularly. I'm up there.
And that's okay.
We're not a day.
We're not minimizing.
It's a reasonable time frame.
Right. We're not minimizing the importance of physical activity, but it takes a mile of running to burn 100 calories. So if you think about it, that's a pretty daunting task when you just look at the arithmetic. So I'm glad you got that. I also lost some weight, as most people know, by doing bracketed eating as well. And I'm usually about a noon till 7, something like that window for myself. That's worked good for me, and a lot of other people as well have told me the same story as you did. Let's switch now, Karl, and talk about the CIMT. You had your first one maybe 2.5 years ago, something like that.
It wasn't even that long. It's just been about 2 years. It was January of about 20. I was 71.
Good. And so what did you find? What were your results when you got, what was your chronological age and what was your arterial age?
At the time, I was 71 years old, just 71, a few months beyond. And my arterial age put me at 80 plus. Ouch. Okay. I was alarmed. No, I was panicked. Okay. Thankfully, I was able to talk to Dr. Ford Brewer, and he calmed me down a little bit. Sure. And it wasn't like I was on the verge of having a heart attack, but it was certainly a sign that I needed to take some steps, and I needed to do it pretty consistently.
So again, you had inflammation, which was contributing to that advanced arterial age, and most likely that inflammation was related to the extra pounds that you were carrying around.
It certainly
And
had.
age, of course, is the other factor that results in inflammation and insulin resistance, which leads to the inflammation. So you had two of those things going against you, but at least you knew where you were at that time. And now you say you've lost the weight. We can't do anything about aging, but that's what we're trying to contribute to is aging. We want to live long, healthy lives. So the thing that you can control, you did. And by that bracketed eating, you've lost some of that weight. And now we're ready to do your CIMT again. And I think you're probably expecting some improvement.
I hope.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be surprised otherwise.
Right.
I'm not sure I'm going to be 10 years younger than my chronologic age. That's not going to work. But if I'm coming in with the ballpark of a few years of being within my chronologic age or my chronologic age, that I think I'll feel pretty good about that.
I think so too. That's really what we're looking for, is if we can get within a couple of years of your chronological age matching your arterial age, that's a pretty good sign that you've got this inflammation under control. And again, just so people remember, inflammation then is what's driving the atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries, that disease process. So we need to get the inflammation under control. You seem to be doing that. When you took this result to your physician, what kind of response did you get, Karl?
Well, she was surprised, but not that surprised. She wasn't familiar with the CIMT test. I gave her some information from both you as well as Dr. Brewer. She was able to follow through with that and make some suggestions that would help me get closer to where I want to be. I had about a blood pressure, I think 128, 130 over 84, 85. And at first, she was saying that was okay or not normal for my age. On the other hand, my blood pressure machine was screaming at me every day because it was one of these kinds that would record what your pressure is. That according to the latest data, you have high blood pressure.
Okay.
And so, wait a minute, I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
So with a very minimal amount, I'm actually taking 2.5 milligrams of ramipril, very low. It dropped my blood pressure 10 to 15 points. So I'm well within the parameters there and very happy with that situation with no side effects.
Yeah. And remember too, that we want, the goal now is below 120 and below 80. And it's not 120 over 80, it's below 120 and below 80. That's a surprise to a lot of people. There is no such thing as borderline high blood pressure anymore. You're either below that number, or you need to start looking. Your risk goes up as the numbers go up in a pretty straightforward line. So it's good that you're on that. Ramipril is what I take also. The other benefit of that, you probably know this, is it helps stabilize that intima layer of the artery, the endothelial layer. So it's one of those drugs that does several things. It helps lower blood pressure if you have that, but also helps stabilize that intima layer so it doesn't rupture and bring on an event. So you're getting 2 for 1. That's a good choice, I think.
Yeah, the thing that I was kind of alarmed with when they had the test, and they showed this, but again, I'm not looking at the numbers, I'm looking at the interpretation of that. I was surprised that I had so much soft buildup, which, as you pointed out, really is the cause of the heart attack, not the hardening of the arteries, as we all had learned or have learned from the past. So it isn't so much the hardening of the arteries, but the softening of the arteries and the blister-like formations that result in the heart attack and the stroke. And virtually everybody in my family died, many of them prematurely, from heart attacks and strokes.
So, Karl, your results did indicate some soft plaque?
It was echogenic, so it was a combination of hard and soft.
All right. So yes, and then we like it to get calcified if we can, but the soft plaque and the CIMT will show that. The CIMT will show if you have soft plaque, that's the dangerous kind, or if it's starting to solidify, or if it's more calcified and pretty stable, not dangerous. So you can have a high calcium score, for example, like I do, but if it's stable, that's not really dangerous. On the other hand, you can have a low calcium score and be at high danger because soft plaque doesn't show up on a calcium test, but it does show up on the CIMT. So that's one more benefit of having this test. So you kind of got an idea where you were specifically. Karl, tell me as we finish up here, Have you recommended this to other people? I already know the answer to that, but go ahead and tell us.
I've recommended to many and any that are willing to listen to my story. And because most people I know are my age, as you pointed out, the prime bracketing for people having problems with strokes and heart attacks, at least with men, are in the 70 to 78 age range. And virtually everybody I know is kind of in there. And then you also pointed out women are kind of there. They're just a few years later than that, but they end up with the same problems, unfortunately.
Well, and they die at a higher rate. They have less heart attacks, but they die more often from the heart attacks they do have, ironically. Okay. So it's a problem for both men and women as well. Well, I know you've recommended this. You have told your friends and family, and I think we're going to have a good group there. Any last kind of words that you'd like to tell somebody who's thinking about a CIMT? They've already watched my video here on the website. They know what the details are about it. They know what the technology is. They know why they should have one. But from your personal experience, what difference has knowing this information made for you?
Well, knowing it gives me some kind of a goal that I can shoot for. In the past, it was like, well, just lose some weight, try to lower your blood pressure with doing this or that or whatever happens to be. Now I've got one other tool in my arsenal to be able to help measure where I'm at and where I'd like to be here 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now.
Exactly right.
So yeah, it's very helpful and something I'm going to follow through with on a yearly basis.
Good.
So,
okay, well, Karl, we thank you for joining us by Zoom. I hope this has been an inspiration for other folks that are going to sign up. And I will be there at your location when we do this testing. So I will see you soon. Okay, great. Look forward to it, David. Thanks, Karl. You've been a mentor for me. You've been truly a mentor. Thanks so much. Again. Okay. Okay.